Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be She's been cold and distant since I met her friends and family. Well, this is a good email that really shows the importance of your girlfriend or your significant other being head over heels in love with you before you start involving yourself in their friends and families' lives and getting introduced to them. Because if she's not head over heels in love with you and then you start meeting friends and family and going out on group dates, oftentimes, especially if the girl's got a big group of friends and there's guys in it as well, maybe childhood friends from high school that hang out in their peer group, there's usually one or two of those guys that have been kind of secretly carrying the torch for her, that have always been hoping to date her at some point, and then you show up as the new guy she just started seeing, and when you're not around, they start sandbagging you, talking shit about you, and trying to get her to break up with you in hopes that they'll get a shot. And so that's one of the reasons why in 3% Man, you don't do group dates, you don't meet the parents or family or any of that stuff, or involve yourself in each other's lives until she's in love with you and wants to be exclusive. Because if you do it beforehand, if you do it before she's gonzo over you and goo goo gaga, then when somebody talks shit about you, she'll take it in and listen. But if she's in love with you and you talk shit about her boyfriend to her, she's going to defend you to those people. And so it's clear she was not head over heels in love with him when he started hanging out with her. And so what ended up happening was that after he met her friends and family, he could tell he kind of got the vibe that the parents didn't really like him. And things went south after really quickly after. Like he noticed, like when they were having sex, that she just didn't seem to be that into it anymore. So, and like he says, she's been cold and distant ever since then. And then recently he tried to set some dates with her, and she's canceled 2 consecutive dates. And now he's like, am I single? What the hell's going on? So he says, hi, Coach. We've actually done 3 phone sessions in the past. I'm a 30-year-old male, and I'm in a relationship with a 24-year-old female who I met just over 3 months ago. We've been official for just shy of 2 months, and she was very hot and heavy early on, super forward. But how early on? If it went the other way, if she was super hot and heavy and then it went the other way, that means the attraction dropped. So maybe it was dropping, and then you met the family and it just dropped even more. The sex was magical, and she always talked about how hot I am. He says, I'm not conceited, it's just what she said. Well, that's what she said at the time because that's what she felt at the time. However, now is a different moment in time, and she doesn't feel the same way. That's the only thing that matters. How does she feel today? She obviously ain't feeling that way. Things went strong for maybe a month and a half. Then she texted and called me constantly, even when plans were made already. So things were good for about a month and a half. Then they became exclusive. Then it went back the other way. So again, it usually takes 6 to 8 weeks for a woman to fall in love. And that's assuming you apply everything that's in the book properly and that you're dealing with a normal, healthy woman and not some kind of mentally ill Fruit Loop. I took control of the plans for the most part, which I only say because we needed to change plans a couple of times due to her being on call for work and whatnot. An example would be one time she came over and said she wanted tacos when we were supposed to go to a panini restaurant, which I stupidly agreed to. Well, does she not like panini? Do you not like tacos? Well, you shouldn't go to tacos if you hate tacos. But if going to tacos is a better deal in a better restaurant, it's like, go have tacos. Go have yourself a nice wet burrito. I was not compliant with her apart from these 1 or 2 situations. So that's not why you're in this situation then. We hung out. We had the key is it was good for about a month and a half. She was really into him for a month and a half, and then it went sideways after a month and a half. We hung out, we had fun, and we hooked up. We even talked about plans as far out as August, and she was the one that brought that up. Well, again, that only mattered the day she brought it up. A woman is going to tell you and talk to you and interact with you based upon her feelings. So when she says, I love you, it only means I love you in that moment. It's like the weather report. And so if she was talking about doing things in August, but that was only the first month and a half of the 3 months that you were together, and she never brought it up again after that, that tells me that her interest was going up and then it started going down. In other words, you were doing and saying things to make her less attracted, and you weren't noticing that her attraction was going the other way until it was too late. Toward the end of April, she ran a half a marathon, and I had never been to an event like this, so I didn't really know what to do apart from just being there for her. Yeah, going to a half marathon, what are you going to do, stand in the bleachers and watch her run? It's like, I probably wouldn't have gone to something like that, because that's like a 4 or 5 hour thing. Unless there's lots of fun activities to do, then maybe I'd go to something like that. But if a girl's running a half marathon and you're not running it with her, it's like, well, why would you go to that? He says, I should have gotten her flowers or something, but it is what it is. I also met her family that day, and I think they didn't really like me, to say the least. He didn't make a good impression. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. And so, did you take the time to talk to them? Did you take the time to listen to them? Or were you kind of cold and distant and didn't really want to talk to them? Because if you were kind of cold and didn't really want to talk to mom and dad, they're probably not going to like you. So that's just, creating rapport 101, just like the book talks about how you create rapport with a girl. Well, you get her to do most of the talking. Well, if you're meeting her parents for the first time, you should be interested in who they are and getting them to tell you about them, that kind of thing. But if the first time the parents meet you, you act like you don't want to be there and you don't really want to talk to them and you're kind of antisocial, well, they're probably not going to have a high opinion of you. It wouldn't matter if she's in love with you, but if her interests have been declining, because again, he says they were together for almost 3 months. Things were great for the first month and a half. And then so by the time this marathon came up, her interest was already low. And so her love and respect for him just wasn't there. And so if mom and dad are like, yeah, I don't like that guy. He's not really friendly. He's kind of weird, kind of socially awkward. I don't know what was going on, but he didn't leave a good impression. And the only reason unless you're drunk or being an ass or something, the only way you couldn't leave a good impression is if you just didn't take the time to get to know mom and dad. He says, she left me hanging during the entire thing, which I didn't appreciate. He says the same thing happened with her friends when I met them. Again, you're meeting them when she's not in love with you. That's what happened. And the fact that she's rude to you like that just shows she doesn't care. You're not important to her. Because if you're going to meet her friends and family, you want her gushing over you. But if she's already kind of got lukewarm interest in you at that point, and then you're meeting her friends and family, and then one of them talks shit, it's like, it's not going to go well. He says she would ignore questions I would ask her over text and send innocuous things, called certain things I wore ugly, and did a lot of things I really didn't appreciate. Yeah, because she didn't like and respect you that much. So I'd say what happened was you were projecting your high interest onto her and ignoring the fact she was not feeling it. She wasn't that great in bed and was actually kind of selfish. I knew we didn't have much in common. Well, why you get into a relationship with somebody you don't have much in common with? The idea is somebody that's easygoing, easy to get along with, who you share the same goals and values with. If you can't have fun with her, if you don't have a lot in common, then why the fuck would you get into a relationship with her? And wasn't sure for a while what the future would look like. Regardless, everything stayed hot and heavy after, at least for a bit. Well, again, it was only for about 5-6 weeks. And so that tells me she never fell in love with you. Because again, if you were doing everything right according to what's in the book, and she's normal and not a Fruit Loop, she would have been in love by week 6 or 7 and been gushing over you. And that never happened. Over the last couple of weeks, I noticed a coldness mainly in bed. She wasn't that into it. How well do you know the book, dude? That is, if I had done 3 phone sessions with you and you're having a hard time in the bedroom with your girl, you don't know the material in the book, dude. That tells me you're trying to seduce her and touch her and kiss her when she's not really that into it, and you were totally clueless. You had no self-awareness of it. You had no sensory acuity. You could not tell that she didn't want to be touched or kissed. The last time we hung out, which was last Sunday, I didn't hear from her until 4:30 p.m. She told me she had a bad day. I asked her what was up and opened her up when she came over, which we had planned for. She really appreciated it. And we had the Indoor Olympics, still a bit cold though, no tongue, wanted me to come after a few minutes. Yeah, she just wanted it over. Maybe you sucked in bed. If a girl's just wanting you to end it, it's like she's not feeling it. You gotta pay attention to that, man. You can't just ignore that. So that tells me you were focused on your interest in her and not noticing that she just wasn't feeling it in you. And when a girl's not feeling it, or she's cold and distant, or not that excited to see you, you reward enthusiasm with more of your time. If she's kind of cold and distant, then don't see her as much. Give her the gift of missing you, especially if nothing is supposedly wrong. He says, I should have been a bit more giving since she had a bad day, but whatever. The coldness in bed only happened a couple of times, but I should have opened her up both times. That tells me you're trying to have sex with her when she's not feeling it. Again, the process of seduction is detailed in the book. When to make the move, it's detailed in the book. And if you're trying to seduce a girl and she's not that into it, that tells me you're kind of clueless. Despite, I haven't looked to see if we actually did 3 phone sessions or not. But, yeah, it's like, after following me for that long, dude, you should be more aware of what's going on. It's not your best performance, my man. Last week, I had a shit day and didn't get back to a text that she sent at 7:30 until 6 p.m., for which I apologized. So what does that mean? You waited full 24 hours to get back to her? She sent a text at 7:30 and you didn't get back till 6:30. So I assume you waited 24 hours, almost 24, like 23 hours. That's rude. That's your girlfriend? That's rude. Shows you don't care. He says, for which I apologized. Everything went south after that. She was cold, distant, and canceling plans on me twice. She had asked me to hang out one of those days. Yesterday, she canceled, citing she woke up super late, had a lot to do, and had to work the next day. Yeah, she doesn't like you, doesn't respect you that much, and this has been going south for a while, and you didn't see it until it was too late. So I don't know what you were doing and saying when you were with her, but it's clear things were good, as you said, for a month and a half, and then it went south after that. Again, you were together for 3 months. He says, this is BS. She's come over after drinking with friends well after midnight while having to work the next day. Yeah, because it means her attraction is low. And again, you're focused on your attraction to her, but haven't been paying attention to the fact her attraction to you is really low. Women don't cancel dates with guys they're in love with. They cancel dates that they don't want to see and they're not feeling it. Again, she's not interested in sex, and it's like not dawning on you that you're probably pursuing too much and investing too much, and she's just not that into it. Because you're going, well, we've been together 3 months, coach. She should be more into it by now. Well, you're ignoring the fact she's not into it. You can't force a woman to feel something she's not feeling. You have to figure out what you're doing and saying to make yourself so unattractive. And if you're waiting 24 hours to text her back, that's fucking rude. She's been saying for a week that she's super busy this upcoming month and has no time for anything. The reason she's saying that is because she's trying to say, I don't want to see you, don't ask me out. He says, I asked what's going on, and she dodged the question. She's not feeling it, bro. You should know better. I've done 3 phone sessions with you, and you're still this clueless? Come on, man. You got to pay attention to what's in the book. You got to read it 10 to 15 times. You got to learn the baseline materials because things are going sideways here and you're not even noticing it. It's just sailing right over your head until it's too late. We originally were supposed to hang out last Sunday on the 19th, and she canceled and had never canceled before in our relationship. Yeah, because she's not into it and you had no idea. Again, you were clueless. You didn't even see it coming. But if things were good for the first 5 or 6 weeks and it's been going south ever since, and so if you dated 3 months, that means for 5 or 6 weeks, you've been noticing her interest going downhill. Parents don't like you. Friends don't like you. She's not into it in sex. Now she's canceling dates. And you're just now starting to go, oh, I think something's wrong. It's like, hello, dude, you need to wake the fuck up. It says, basically, I kindly offered to reschedule for yesterday, which was the 21st. And then yesterday, she canceled again. I told her to let me know when she's free and to be mindful of my time because I'm busy too. Well, you should be. Next time she asks to see you, make her wait a week. Tell her, oh, things have been crazy, honey. Sorry, I'm all jammed up this week. We can get together next week. Again, if she's canceling dates, I wouldn't bring up seeing her ever again. I wouldn't call her or text her again for any reason. She apologized. I told her that I understand that she's busy and I support her 100%, but I'm going to give her the time she needs to take care of this stuff, and I'll take some time for myself. I then told her to get in contact when she's ready to get together again. She literally just said, "Thank you. I appreciate you." I was caught between doing because she was so cold and distant, so there it is. Now he recognizes her interest dropped, and instead of backing off, he moved forward faster. Got to let women come to you at their pace, bro. And doing the once per week fallback. I'm going to be congruent with my words and I will not contact her at all. Regardless, I stood my ground and it feels good. I just bought a limited edition Camaro, so safe to say I have a solid distraction. Well, cool. Maybe you can go pick up some new ladies in your Camaro. Did I do the right thing? Well, I would say for the last month and a half, you were not paying attention at all, dude. And again, this lack of noticing this stuff tells me you just haven't spent the time to read the book 10 to 15 times. You paid attention to your interests. You assumed it was going up. You assumed since you were exclusive that everything was perfect and you had made it to the promised land. Any chance she'll be back? Well, I would never ask her out again, even if she does reach out. If she sends you a meme, just like it back. If she says something nice to you, just like it back, unless she's asking you a question. But unless she says, "I miss you, I want to see you, when are we going to get together? It's been a while, I want to come over." It's like, don't ever bring up getting together again unless she does first. He says, "I haven't been in a situation like this, and we haven't had an actual breakup conversation. I'm not even sure if I'm single or not." Well, if I were you, when a woman's your girlfriend has canceled 2 dates in a row for BS reasons, and on top of that, she's told you how busy she is, if you don't hear from her for a week, then I would assume you're single, and I would start entertaining attention from other women. And quite frankly, if you take a step back, parents don't like you, the friends don't like you. That should kind of be a clue. And then you don't really have that much in common. If it was me, you're dating a woman you have mediocre interest in and a girl who definitely has low interest in you. So, I would not stay exclusive to a woman that's blowing you off like this. I just wouldn't, because you don't know what she's doing. You don't know what she's up to. Maybe there's another guy in the picture. You don't know. But she's canceling dates. She's been clearly backing away. I'd give it a week. If you don't hear from her for a week, then I would assume it's okay to go out and date other people. And if she ever complains about it down the road, it's like, "Hey, you were canceling dates. You told me how busy you were, and you weren't making the effort, so I just assumed you didn't want to be together anymore. Because you were all over me in the beginning." But again, you got to figure out where the fuck you went wrong, dude. And as you said, I mean, it's pretty clear you started over pursuing and instead of backing off. And it's like, you got to pay attention. The book's not going to help you if you do the opposite. You're supposed to match and mirror her actions. And when she backed off, you should have backed off. And if she wasn't head over heels in love with you, you should not have been going to her race and meeting her friends and her family and all that stuff. It's you put the cart before the horse. You projected your high interest. And you ignored things like, I mean, the title of the book is Woman of Your Dreams, not some boring chick that you have nothing in common with or very little in common with. So, again, if you don't hear from her for a week, and definitely if you don't hear from her for 2 weeks, then yeah, I would just start dating other girls. And, she can be an occasional fuck buddy, friends with benefits. If she brings it up, it's like, "Hey, we're not really together anymore. I haven't seen or heard from you in 2 weeks. You haven't been making much of an effort." And it's like, it just doesn't feel like a relationship. You didn't make the effort. So you're canceling dates. You obviously didn't want to see me. So if you haven't signed up already for the members only content, if you're watching this video on YouTube, right underneath the video in the video description, there are links to where you can join YouTube. You can join on Spotify, or you can join on my website. So what do you get? Well, you get 6 additional paid members only video newsletters per week. You get the 3% Man study group with Caroline and the rest of the girls, where we go through the book literally page by page and discuss it. The girls ask their questions. And the goal is just another learning tool to help you learn the book and to see what the women have. In other words, what jumps out at them. And also we have a Mastering Yourself studying group, which we just released the first episode last week. So there's one episode a week for that. And then we have the Viewers Questions podcast where we answer 12 to 15 viewer questions per sitting. So those are all there versus the normal just answering one question and uploading one video to YouTube and the other platforms. So if you go to my website, understandingrelationships.com, and click the Plans tab, if you pay up front for the whole year, you can get a 25 or 20% discount on the whole year. So you can do that. You can subscribe on Spotify, and the added benefit on the website is that you get all of for the email analysis on the video newsletters. So if you haven't signed up, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the Plans tab at the top of your screen on any page, and join the members only on my website. If you'd like to book a coaching session with yours truly, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the Products tab at the top of your screen on any page, and book a coaching session. And until next time, I will talk to you soon.